Hare Krishna. Thank you all, everyone, for joining in for today evening uh, this Bhakti Life program. Abhishek Prabhu, I guess you'll have to a little bit look into it. There is a lot of background noise. Hare Krishna. Is it all audible for everyone? So give me a quick second. We'll just start the stream in one quick live now. So Hare Krishna, thank you all for joining in. A little hiccup in starting the session. There was a little noise disturbance. So welcome once again for this series that we have been doing for last 2 months, titled as Bhakti Life, as a part of our program. As all of you, those who have been attending it, you're aware that we started this almost two months ago. For all those who had completed the level 1 and level 2 programs that we conduct, that is Gita Essence, Gita Wisdom, and Gita Essence. And Bhakti Life in general contains topics which helps us to, which actually gives us faith and inspiration in the path of bhakti, makes us more determined, and also gives us tips on how to deal day-to-day challenges which a person who's trying to practice spiritual life or accept spirituality in their life has to face as an ongoing challenges. And as a part of the series, we do invite our seniors, senior devotees and Vaishnavas who can share their realizations of practicing bhakti for years altogether. So today we meet again for another interesting session titled as The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. So it sounds a little strange, and maybe I would say some of you might be curious, why would I name this title as The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari? So some of you might have heard of the name Robin Sharma, a very famous international author. I read his book when I was in my college days, almost 15, 16 years ago, or maybe more than that. And the title of the book was The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. And Robin Sharma had written this book, and the book was all about a protagonist, a main character, who was a very famous lawyer back in America, in New York City, uptown, very successful in his profession and career, had a lot of wealth, had everything that a young man would probably dream in his life. However, one day he gets a heart attack, and because of which, after that, he just couldn't recover from his illness. And suddenly he began to wonder, why do bad things happen to good people? Why am I suffering? And things like this, which at times we also come across such kind of queries in our life. Like this, when he began to ponder on this, he realized what all he had aimed in his life, what all he had acquired in his life, was actually not giving him that sense of fulfillment. And somehow he came across some books which gave him a direction that if you go to India, you'll find the answers to the question that you're looking at it. And he came, left everything. So the monk who sold his Ferrari means he had his Ferrari. He sold his Ferrari and he came back to India in search of spirituality, in search of answers. Who am I? What is the purpose of life? Why am I suffering? And so forth. He came, and through his journey in India, he found the answers. He found the meaning to a deeper sense of fulfillment, living a life which makes him happy, which also allows him to contribute in the lives of others. And like that, while his stay in India, traveling through the caves of Himalayas, meeting different sages, he acquired a spiritual skill, a talent, a knowledge by which he learned how to live, a simple life, but a meaningful life, a more fulfilling life. And that book in itself was a turning point for my own life, where I began to ask, what's the goal of my life? It's a very profound book. However, the wisdom was profound, but it was all based on a fiction. It was not a factual story. It was all a fiction. But today we have a speaker with us. His guest Sundarshyam Prabhu, who had been a monk for more than two decades, who actually have lived a life, highly educated, who have lived a life as a renunciate, who have practiced spiritual tradition for over 2 decades, who have actually gone through this process of spiritual realization. And we have invited him, requested Prabhuji to share his realizations, not fictional, but factual. So just to introduce the speaker that we have for today, His Grace Sundarshyam Prabhu, born in a devoted family back in 1978. Parents were devotees of Lord Whittle, grew up in a very holy and spiritual oriented family, and since childhood had a lot of inclination towards spiritual subject matters. While growing up, he definitely had pondered on questions like, what am I supposed to do with my life? What post graduation? What's the purpose of life? Why do people suffer? And things like this, which probably most of us think in our life, but never take it seriously, often get distracted. And during his journey, during his education, he came across various spiritual organizations where he asked them questions. Finally, when he was studying, doing his engineering back in 1996, he came across devotees of ISKCON, wherein he asked them the questions, and they were able to give him befitting responses to the satisfaction of his heart based on the wisdom of Bhagavad Gita. And he got convinced, and he completed his education, bachelor's degree. And as I've heard from His Grace and from other senior devotees, maybe Prabhuji can correct me, as soon as he completed his final year paper, rather than returning back home, in our cases, we probably would go and play a cricket or something. Finally, the exam's over. He didn't go back home. He didn't go to any cricket ground. He didn't go to any theater to enjoy or take a break from his studies. He finished his fourth year of engineering, the final paper, and right from there, from the exam hall, he came to the ISKCON Pune Temple Brahmachari Ashram. And since then, he had been in the Brahmachari Ashram. So there could not be any better landing for an engineering graduate, a better profession for engineering graduate. And being inspired by the message of Srila Prabhupada through his books, through his commentary to Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Prabhuji took that message to his heart and have been sharing the message of Bhagavad Gita, guiding hundreds and thousands of youths all over India. As of now, he travels almost 15 days a month out of Pune to visit different IITs, NITs, different ISKCON temples to guide the youths and the families. Of course, for the last 1.5 years, due to lockdown, he had not been traveling much, but a very, a wonderful speaker, a wonderful friend, well-wisher, and an elder to have with you to guide you in your spiritual life, and an inspiration for all of us back in ISKCON Pune Brahmachari Ashram. So with that, we sincerely express our gratitude to His Grace Sundarshyam Prabhu for taking out his time, joining us, although we're not meeting in live at Hinjawadi, but at least we are meeting online. When things become normal, hopefully we'll have him visit at Hinjawadi also. So Sundarshyam Prabhu, thank you so much for joining in. So happy to have you here with us. And we have our audience waiting to hear from you. So to begin with, the very first thing I would like you to reflect on is on the subject matter of your journey as a young engineer, as all of us have lived, where the goal was set as acquiring, possessing career success. From that journey, taking a detour, and now living a life where you're walking the path of austerity, simplicity, at times hardships, and yet going on steadfast on the path of spiritual life for the sake of spiritual enlightenment. So can you please give us some direction or your experience of this journey that you have taken so far? Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Madan Sundar Prabhu. I'm very grateful to you and all the devotees there in Hinjawadi and other places for having given me this opportunity to share some thoughts, in particular this subject matter. So as you introduced that all of us have these questions, but maybe we don't take it seriously about life. What is life all about? So something like that in my life also. I had a lot of spiritual exposure, but did not have philosophical exposure as to why we suffer in life, what is the goal of life, does God really exist, does He control? If He is in control and He is arranging so many sufferings, then why people suffer? Why should they not be completely happy? And in personally my life also, I would come across so many diseases, so many mental anxieties, especially into career back in the childhood days also we were into so much of competitive spirit, trying to compete, trying to be toppers, which we could do, get it. But still, in the heart of my heart, I always felt some emptiness. It's like happiness in you, but out of touch, we are not able to get it. Just like trying to catch shadow. It's right there in front of me, but I'm not able to capture it. Nothing tangible comes in my hand. That's what was the experience. So naturally, I felt something is missing. And what is that missing point? I was not understanding till in January 1996, when I came across His Grace Radhesham Prabhu, as well as the team of devotees who were assisting him in ISKCON Youth Forum in ISKCON Pune. So they answered all my questions, as I already it's there in the introduction. So the questions completely were answered based on Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam and other Vedic literatures. So they tell us very clearly that we are not these bodies, we are spirit souls. We can always see that, we can clearly understand. In fact, in the modern day world, there are so much of research done on reincarnation. How so many people in the past, they lived and they are telling in this life who they were in the past. That too from altogether different state, different town, etc. Hundreds, thousands of kilometers away. And it has been very scientifically proved that our journey continues. The soul goes in the next body. But only it is proved in some cases scientifically in the outside world. But in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Jatasya hi dhruvam mrityur dhruvam janma mrityasya cha. Every dead person will be born and every born person has to die. Life is nothing but countdown rather. We count it up. First birthday, second birthday, third birthday. But actually it's countdown. On my every birthday, my mother, at least twice I remember, my mother took me to my father and saying, he would never remember my birthday by the way. And she told that today is his birthday, which in Marathi is called as Vada Divas. Vada means increase, Divas means the day in which you grow by 1 year. So she told that today is his Vada Divas. Immediately my father said, not Vada Divas, Ghata Divas. His life has decreased by 1 year. And my mother was more shocked than me. And I was surprised. The next year, similar thing happened. Then my mother felt it better not to introduce. Otherwise, she felt every birthday I'm getting curses after curses, but not by anybody else, but my own father only. So, but then I was put into thinking, what is life all about? So it is very clear that we come from spiritual world. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna, that Mamai Vamsho Jiva Loki Jiva Bhuta Sanatana, that all the living entities are my parts and parcels. We are all his children. But we left him in the spiritual world, disobeyed him, and came to this world in search of happiness, enjoyment, independent of the Lord. But how could a child be happy, separate away from father and mother, who are so much loving and caring for him? So thus the Jiva cannot enjoy life in this world. In his illusion, he thinks, I am happy. But very precarious condition he has to pass through, life after life, life after life. Currently, in the current case situation, we are all seeing how the whole world is affected by this virus, corona. So much, maybe 20-30% are directly affected through the disease, but all others remaining, 70-80%, they are mentally disturbed. Oh, I should not get it, maybe I will get it, whether mask is proper. So much of anxiety just by one virus, almost invisible to our naked eyes, but so much of terror. And this is just one thing. Krishna's material energy can produce so many problems, as he says very nicely in Bhagavad Gita. Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi. Birth, old age, disease, death. These are the real problems of life. And there are three more. Durga Devi with her trident, which has three shul. Three means three. Shul means pointed structures, with which she pierces the heart of one demon. That demon is none other than all of us only. He is just representing us. And what is she piercing us with? With Adhyatmik, Adi Bhautik, Adi Devi Klesh. Miseries caused by our own body and mind, miseries caused by other living entities, and miseries by supernatural powers like earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, etc. So this virus is just one part of Adi Bhautik Klesh. Miseries caused by other living entities. One virus. And there are so many living entities who cause so much problem. Snakes, scorpions, in fact cockroach also, by seeing, at least mentally we get some anxiety. So thus this world is very designed only as Dukkhalayam, place of miseries. Anybody who thinks he's very happy here, he has to be under some drunken condition only. Just like a drunkard, when he drinks, high on drink, he thinks I'm so happy. He may fall down in a gutter water passing through his nose, and still he feels he's very happy. Yes, he's happy, but in ignorance. Anybody who is not in ignorance can see he's in a pathetic condition. He's suffering like anything. He feels pity on him, tries to help him, but that fellow is so much in ignorance. He says, "Hey, what are you saying? I'm completely happy. In fact, you should join me. Take this drink." So this is how the soul gets completely submerged in the illusion created by Maya Devi, that is Durga Devi, who is working under Krishna's control. So Krishna is Supreme Lord and he is our kind father. He doesn't want us to suffer like that. That's why very kindly he has given his love message, love letter through Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam and other literatures. If we read that love letter, then I will understand, oh, somebody loves me, or really I never knew. So much love and so much care he has already provided around me. Just like when we were in the mother's womb. Now, how are we supplied food? Can we eat that rice, dal, sabji, chapati that mother eats? No. All that in a very digested, very proper fashion, it is provided through umbilical cord to the child. As soon as the child is born, the cord is cut. Now, how will he get his food? But immediately there is milk in the breast of the mother. That is for the child which he can digest. He cannot again eat rice, dal, sabji, chapati at that time. So everything is arranged by God only. And the milk in the breast of the mother is not arranged by her, not by her husband, not by her in-laws, not by anybody in the creation, except our original, eternal Father, that is Lord Krishna. So that understanding, if one comes to, then he is called as most intelligent. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Bahunam Janmanam Ante Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlabha. As long as we are in ignorance, we think I can enjoy life through these senses. But the senses have limitation. So after long time, he comes to realize that yes, Lord is the one who is eternal. Myself, the soul, I am also eternal, and our loving relationship is also eternal. Everything else is temporary. And the way to connect with him in this world, that is Kali Yuga today, is through chanting the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Those who realize this and thus daily, in their daily life, take to devotional practices while doing their worldly duties, like job, business for maintenance, wives in the house, women doing housework, etc., taking care of children, and all that can be done. But that is for the body. That has nothing to do with the soul. Just like that old lady story, she had a parrot. She thought, let me have the cage painted. The cage was not so good, rusted. She polished it very nicely. One day went in that. Then she did painting of that. And third day was final touch, finishing touch. And in the process, she did not feed the parrot. As a result, the parrot died. So this is our current situation. We are taking care of body. The morning we get up till we sleep. And before sleeping, we make all the arrangements in case it's too cold, and let me have blanket ready, or AC remote control is in my hand only. So we make so many arrangements for body only, but the soul is completely neglected. And we are the soul. Then how could we be happy? If I am sitting in the vehicle which has petrol tank filled, the tires are completely having proper air, etc. But I am having toothache. I have terrible problem. So then my brain doesn't function. The wheels of the car can move, but my brain is not moving in that posh AC car. So that is our condition currently. The soul is completely confused. People committed suicide in this scenario. Big actors, actresses, they were completely disturbed. What is this situation? And many of the people, they lost their profession and so many problems. So that's why what is required is Atma-Dhyan, knowledge of the self. That is more important than the knowledge of the world. Knowledge of the world is required, but that is secondary. First comes about myself. Just like if I get into a company, I'm posted over there, I'm recruited, but I don't know what to do there. It will be only one animal who will be happy they provide me some breakfast, lunch and dinner in the canteen. But I am completely not knowing what to do there. So that is not proper life. Human life means they want to know what am I supposed to do. What is the outcome of this? What do I gain through this? And what is the guarantee that the gain would be permanent, or all those kind of things. So this kind of thoughts come to intelligent people. That's why in so many places in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Vedic literature, it is said, those who come to God consciousness, Krishna consciousness, they are the most intelligent people. Buddha bhava samanita, Krishna says, mattas parataram nanyat kinchid asti dhananjaya, mayi sarvam idam protam sutre manigana iva. Another place he says that Buddha bhava samanita, those who are intelligent, they come to me. So those who are most intelligent, they will only come to Krishna. So we want to be thus such intelligent people. According to worldly calculations, worldly views, we might be considered fools. Like sometimes people have asked me this question, come on, you were in engineering, you could have had such bright career, and you could have been happy like anything. I said, am I not happy? Do I look miserable or what? Who is the millionaire, billionaire? Call any trillionaire in front of me and let him give a smile like I give smile. He will not be. If at all, it will be a plastic smile. Just like at the hotel receptionist, sometimes the lady is so beautiful. And she says, good morning, sir. How may I serve you? And she gives such a nice smile. But as soon as you go, then she is miserable like anything. I have seen air hostesses. When they are in function, they tell all the rules. They are very cordial, very receiving very nicely. But then when the plane takes off, they are also told, please take your seats, etc. I just saw, that one air hostess. She was so miserable. I was wondering what was that few minutes back. That show. What happened to the show? I think show is over currently. So we can very clearly see through the life that how people are not happy. The actual happiness is possible only when the soul comes in touch with Supreme Lord. There are 4 ways of doing that: Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. But in this day and age, Kali Yuga, Bhakti Yoga is the easiest. Anybody. Now, today my interview is there as a brahmachari. But I think next time, sometimes we'll have interview of grihasthas, those who are married. In ISKCON only, we have seen more than 98 to 99% of the population is of grihasthas. Married couples wonderfully practicing, family, children, parents, everyone practicing very nicely while doing job, household duties, etc. So anybody in any walk of life, any time can practice spiritual life, especially through Bhakti Yoga. That is Lord Krishna's arrangement for all of us. So we are very, very, very fortunate in this day and age. Especially Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has brought this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra for our deliverance. So easy, anybody, anytime, anywhere could chant. No need to even chant on the beats. We chant on beats for the sense of touch and to make our own rules so that we follow nicely, so that we don't become loose in our approach in surrender to God. But otherwise, there are no rules at all. And the only rule is of love. Lord loves us and we express our love to Him through chanting His name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Too many things to say, but I think I will give over to our Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
While growing up, I only knew Hanumanji as a brahmachari. I never knew the brahmacharis existed ever. Although, all the time, till the time it was possible for me to go to the temple, I would go and visit on Tuesday and, offer my little prayers to Hanumanji. But when I came across ISKCON, I saw many, many, brahmacharis, that too, young devotees, highly educated, like yourself, who, just graduated from an engineering degree and then take up to the life of brahmacharya. So here my question is, we are living in a world of massive distractions. Unlike the previous ages, when it was quite possible to follow the life of a brahmacharya because the society supported it. There was a culture which kind of allowed a brahmacharya to practice it. Today, most of our monks, all of us, live in city culture and have come from a modern education. Yet, ISKCON has been able to successfully create a model where brahmacharis, a young man can become a brahmachari, live as a brahmachari, serve as a brahmachari, and sustain as a brahmachari for lifelong. Whereas all other spiritual organizations or religions are not even able to attract old people, to take to spiritual culture. We are attracting young people and focusing in particularly in context of a brahmacharis. What is so special with our Krishna conscious movement? And what allows us, what gives us a strength, a brahmacharya strength to continue on living in a city environment, yet remain a true brahmachari and contribute towards one's life and to the lives of others? Hare Krishna.
sturdy, robust tree, but down below will have such powerful roots which support such a huge structure which is visible, whereas the roots are not visible. Similarly, the strength of a building lies in its foundation, which is again invisible, and the building is visible. So the beauty of the building doesn't matter as much as the strength, and the strength depends on the foundation. So similarly, in our case, though Brahma Madhava Gaudiya Sampradaya, in which ISKCON comes in the modern day scenario, is time old tradition coming from Lord Krishna. He gave this knowledge to Brahmaji, who gave it to Narad Muni, down the line to Vyasdev, etc. But the ISKCON is founded by Abhay Charanarvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who went to America at the age of 70. So old, having 2 heart attacks, hardly 40 rupees in the pocket, and nobody known over there to him. Such an adventure. Just like young men are in there, that thrilling spirit. They want to have thrill in life, and that's why the adventure. The Guinness Book of World Record is filled with many times with young people venturing into many fields, aspects of life. So similarly, Prabhupada was young at heart, who went to America. Why he was young at heart? He was not just young at heart, he was young in spirit, because the spirit is always young. Spirit never grows old. That's why no matter how old we grow in the body, the soul always feels I am young only, though he is not able to do many things through the body. But the soul, when he takes up to devotional service, he gets rejuvenated. He comes to his youthful days. So Prabhupada was such a youthful personality, though externally he was 70-year-old man. So he was very youthful, as we see, such an adventure. Known today, still none of us will venture going on a cargo ship for 38 days of travel. Forget about 70 years of age. We are hardly 30-40 years in age. Still we won't venture in this way, because it's very, very difficult. But Prabhupada was young at heart. By associating with him, so many youth in America who were in search of knowledge. Just like in children, in the childhood, when we were grasping tendency and understanding of the world, we start gathering, then we are so eager to know things around. So even then, when we grow to youthful days, if we are not very clear about what is life, as many times we feel, because we don't get the answers from saints and sages. So those people in America, the hippies back in 60s, they were, though coming from very good background, educated, financially well-to-do, etc., they were completely confused as to what is life about. So they ventured into all fields of life, boozing, drinking, eating, meat eating, and womanizing, everything that we know and we don't know. They were into it and they had done with it. And then also they felt, it's not giving the juice. Something is missing. Srila Prabhupada gives very classical example of old crows going to garbage dump and then just picking their beak here and there and getting some intestine out of the rat's body. And they have tested it all and they feel it's all nasty. So they just stand there, sit there, and they're looking here and there. But then meanwhile, new crows come and they are very happy. Oh, here is a dead rat, etc. But then the old crows are completely neutral about it. They know there is nothing there. So those youngsters, so India is like that. Many times, it is compared that old crows are like Americans who tested everything of life in a materialistic way, but they got fed up, frustrated. Whereas the Indians are trying now. So the hippies, they got attracted to Prabhupada. Seeing what is this man doing, old man from America, not having any financial backup. So they saw that he is chanting Hare Krishna. It took time certainly, but then they picked it up, then they understood philosophy, and with their help, Prabhupada spread this Krishna consciousness all over the world. So Prabhupada was young at heart on the spiritual platform. He had realized that I am not body, I am spirit soul. So soul is always young, soul never grows old, soul never dies, soul never takes birth, soul never suffers diseases. So Prabhupada was on the spiritual platform, young that way, and he gave his association to youngsters. And those youngsters spread Krishna consciousness, and naturally, whatever kind of personality you are, you attract similar kind of personalities. So they were all young, so they attracted all youngsters. In fact, it is recommended by the Lord only in Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, by Prahlad Maharaj also, that one should begin devotional service from the age of 5 itself. Though Prahlad Maharaj, who said this, he began his devotional practice at -5 months. That means when he was in the womb of his mother, she was taken by Narad Muni to Badrika Ashram and he spoke to her Bhagavad Dharma. Prahlad in the womb heard it more nicely better way than his own mother who was externally hearing. So this is how devotional service should be practiced right from the age of 5. So in one sense, we should ideally, ISKCON should be able to attract even children also. But that is the service we leave to all the grihasthas, to their own children and the society children. They should preach and attract them from the age of 5 only. But as such, as far as the monks go in ISKCON, we have been able to attract many youngsters, because as I have seen in my life also, when I was in engineering, we were so much was told about engineering, and as if the stars will be shining and the flowers will be falling from the sky and all that. But when I entered in engineering college, I found it is all hollow. There is no stuff is not there. So many problems. The experiments would not work, the laboratory and all that. And then the teachers would tell next time we'll try, and then also it would not work. Okay, now write down the readings, etc., previous readings, etc. I found there is nothing there. And even if you learn all that technical knowledge, in life it has absolutely no use. So many educated people jump from terrace, etc., and then they commit suicide or hang themselves because they don't know what is life all about. Why am I miserable? So that's why youngsters are the best ones. They are in their youthful spirit also. They have a lot of energy also. Like an old man goes to God and says, God, my whole life is for you. God will laugh and say, what remains of your life now? You rascal, you are about to die. A matter of days maybe. So youngsters are the best. Somebody's birthday is there and we give him a fresh flower. So, wish you happy birthday. He will feel so nice. If he's given wilted flower and while giving only many petals fall off, hardly the middle structure remains, and the next person will not even feel like extending hand even. So thus God would like our offering in the youthful days, and Prabhupada had that spirit. The whole crux lies in the founder Acharya of ISKCON, that is Srila Prabhupada, who was always young. In fact, he was asked, he told once that all of you now work very hard because you are young. When you grow old, you all can retire, go to our Mayapur and Vrindavan temples in Dham and nicely relax. So everybody said, wow, so nice. But one very intelligent disciple, Prabhupada disciple, his name is Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. He said, Prabhupada, we find you are 80 plus now, but you are not retiring to either Vrindavan or Mayapur. What is that? Then Prabhupada understood, he understood. So Prabhupada immediately said, oh, I am not old, I am young only. Immediately Tamal Krishna Maharaj said, so Prabhupada will never grow old. We will also always remain young and will spread Krishna consciousness till the fag end of our life, till the last breath. So that is the spirit. Soul is always active because soul is always youthful. But because one gets on the material platform, bodily platform, then one feels disturbed. So thus one should be on spiritual platform. On the soul platform, he will be able to attract many, many youngsters. That is the secret. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Many times people ask this question, particularly youngsters, what is brahmacharya life? Because now nobody knows about it. Because in our education, we hardly learn anything about it. What is this brahmacharya life and what is its importance? Unfortunately, as we all are aware, most of the modern literatures, even the medical books, they kind of do not encourage brahmacharya life at all. They say it is against the physical need. In fact, the man is supposed to engrossed or fulfill the basic needs of the body. So it feel like a dichotomy wherein we have heard that it is not possible to do it. If you do it, you become a crazy person. However, Vedic literatures are filled with so many wonderful examples and stories, not only stories, but the facts of the importance of brahmacharya life. Our whole Varnashram system was based on this. Brahmacharya life, Grahastha life, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas Ashram, and where we had a regulated sense gratification in context of everything. So, any words of wisdom you have been practicing for almost your whole life? So, what is this brahmacharya life, and what is its importance for one's own individual well-being and for the contribution towards the society? Hare Krishna.
In the simple terms, it is defined as Brahman charati iti brahmachari. That means one who is absorbed in the Brahman. Brahman means the Supreme Lord. Certainly light comes out of the Lord's body, that is called as Brahma Jyoti. And Lord is also present in each and every atom, in everyone's heart as Paramatma. But Lord has his own beautiful form, Sham Sundar, Lord Krishna, threefold bending form, playing on his flute. So that Lord, when one is completely absorbed in, so that is called as brahmacharya. And that can be practiced not by person like me in sadhu's dress. It can be practiced by grihasthas also, vanaprasthas also, sannyasis and brahmacharis, all, even ladies, girls, women, everybody can practice this brahmacharya. And this is very much important, very much required. In fact, even those who are married, they also have union with their partner, marriage partner, for the sake of producing children only. Sex for procreation and not for recreation. So that is very important. So then what does one do other time? He is absorbed in the Supreme Brahman. In fact, the very act of sex also is done for the sake of service to the Supreme Lord. Dharma aviruddho bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarshava. That sex which is not contrary to religious principles, Krishna says, I am that sex life. Means that sex life is very holy. It's very, very pious, very divine, because the whole endeavor of that act is to produce a Krishna conscious child who will help the humanity to come out of its darkness of ignorance. So thus brahmacharya is very, very important. Yes, in the modern day they say, doctors and all, that it should not be stopped and all that, but it is an energy. Like in the sexual act, one releases semen, one drop of semen takes 64 drops of blood to get formed into one semen. So in the sex act, semen, so the vital energy goes away. So one feels very much depressed, one feels weak. That is the experience of all those who have undergone that kind of activity. Whereas on the contrary, if one doesn't go in that direction, one restricts it, the fluid, that is the semen, not allowed to pass downward, then it goes upward in the body. That is the system, Vedic system, it is arranged, Ayurvedic system. And then it goes and it pervades the whole body and produces effulgence. It produces the intelligence in the person, the willpower, and so many, the physical strength on all levels. It helps a person. So it is not something which is artificial. It is very natural, and by that one gets lot of strength. In fact, forget about all this spirituality keeping aside. If you see the boxers like Muhammad Ali, he says that before any match, 6 months no sex. Why? You would have a lot of sex in general, but before match, if I have to win, I have to preserve my energy. I cannot just let it loose. Otherwise, I will not be able to fight against my combatant. So that was very clear to him, and that's how he would be successful also. Though it is very difficult to restrain physically when one is so much engaged into it, but with the higher prospects of getting name, fame, prestige through winning the boxing match, he could easily do it. So we are not doing controlling our sexual urge for the sake of some name, fame, prestige, but we want to serve the Supreme Lord more. And for that matter, we just don't get into this line. And even if the grihasthas are there, married couples, they also do it just for the sake of procreating a child. Otherwise, they also absorb themselves in Krishna consciousness, which is the goal of life. Whereas these other bodily needs, sometimes, just like eating, one need of the body. You cannot 24 hours keep eating. And you will die. Maybe in one day only you will die. Similarly, sex also, pigeons can do 60 times in a day. Human beings, more than 5-6 times of the day, if one goes for it, one will die. Because so much is not, human life is not meant, arranged in that way. Human life is for austerities, tapasya. Tapasya for the Supreme Lord, for His pleasure. Then one gains so much in oneself also. That's how I can see in ISKCON as well as others who are practicing brahmacharya. They are so happy. It's a blissful life. No headache, nothing. Just like the example is given of the patang, of kite. When it is flying sky high, it looks so majestic. Now if the kite says, oh, I want to be independent, just cut off this thread. If the thread is cut off, then what? That kati patang, what is the destination? You have seen how it goes. It is not majestic at all. How nobody can predict how the movement of that kite would be. And where would it land up? Nobody knows. It may land up on some tree, some electric wires, or in the gutter water or river, what not. And children are fighting over it. Ultimately, it breaks down only. So that is, control is required in life. We have traffic rules so that the whole traffic moves very systematically. Apparently little slowly, but they head towards destination, and they definitely reach destination. Whereas in Indian scenario, many times we see where there are no signals. My card is like nobody knows and nobody proceeds anywhere. Everybody is stuck up there. Only successful person is cycle wala. He picks up his cycle and he walks through the hole and he can pass through. So thus we can see clearly we need some restraint. Even PWD work, public welfare department work also, they write temporary inconvenience for permanent convenience. Now sorry, we are constructing this road, making it from tar road to cement road, so you'll have to go detour, take a long tour little bit, but this is temporary time. Afterwards you'll enjoy like anything this cement road for next 50-60 years. So similarly, if one takes up this little austerity of brahmacharya, irrespective of whether monk like me or in family life or vanaprastha life or sannyas life, one will have so much strength, so much energy, which is exclusively meant for the service of the Lord, by which Lord gives so much pleasure from within that one can be satisfied in life without anything of this life. Because just Lord is there. Just like child in the mother's arms doesn't need car, bungalow, etc. The love of the mother is enough to nourish him for all time. Hare Krishna. Should we take a
Thank you
break?
so much. Yes, that's what I was about to ask. It's almost 7:40. So for all of our
Yes. 5
guests,
minutes.
we'll just have a short break. His case Sundarshyam has to attend an important activity that will take around 3 to 5 minutes, and we'll resume our discussion right after that. So we do have many more questions, which we'll continue to ask our speaker for today. Where we're going to ask him next is how do these brahmachari keep themselves engaged in their day-to-day life, and how do they maintain themselves? Then we'll go to the discussion on what is this Vedic social order. Lord Shri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita says, Chaturvanya Maya Shrashtam Guna Karma Vibhagashaha. Krishna says, I have created this divine system of the social division based on guna and karma, where the social order is indicated by Brahmanas, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, and then there's a spiritual order indicated by Brahmacharis, Grahasthas, Vanaprasthas, Sannyas. What is the significance of it? And what is its relevance in our life? Of course, today the system doesn't exist, but in principle, the practice is still there. We still find people who have Brahmanical, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra traits. We still have some little bit of traces of brahmacharya life, like ISKCON and many other spiritual organizations. They still have this brahmacharya ashram. Of course, Grahastha ashram is there. Vanaprastha ashram is also there to some extent. Yes, sannyas ashram is still existing to some extent, like that. So, what is the significance? What all we can learn from it? And then we'll come to a very important question, which generally the youth ponder about: what ashram should I select? How do I know which spiritual order is best for me? Brahmacharya or Grahastha? Today, we're not going to go on to the discussion on social order, which means what occupational path. Brahminical, Kshatriya, Vaishya. Kshatriya means administrative, Vaishya means business, and Shudra means professional life or, a worker in that sense. That will put it for the next week. Today, we'll focus on spiritual order, and next week, we'll talk about social order. And then after this, we'll open question answers with all of you, wherein whatever questions you have that you would like to ask the speaker will have it. So with that, we'll just pause for 2 to 3 minutes. In the meantime, our speaker will be back soon. Just a quick reminder, tomorrow evening we'll have our self-development series, which has been continuing for almost 5 weeks now. Tomorrow is the 6th week. And based on the request of many of the participants, tomorrow we'll have a dedicated question answer session. So do we have the poster here to show? I'll request our admin here. Yes. So this is the information about tomorrow's program. The program would be 7 o'clock up to 8:30. If in case you have not asked your question, if you would like your question to be asked, I will request our team here, they'll share the link with you on this forum right now. And you can go ahead and fill in your question, and tomorrow we'll take that question. If time permits, we'll definitely also ask you to put in your questions when the session when the session is going live. With that, we'll pause here for 2-3 minutes. Our team will play a nice, beautiful Kirtan for all of you, and we'll be back right away in another 2 minutes. So hang on, stay with us for this exciting session which continues. We'll resume back in 1 or 2 minutes. Hare.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
So
Krishna.
welcome back. Welcome back to the session. So thank you, Prabhuji. So let's continue with our discussion. So we just had a discussion on the subject matter of what is this brahmachari life, what is its importance, and you gave a very beautiful answer about how the brahmacharis can, by preserving their vital energy, can actually contribute and utilize the whole human form of life in the service of the Lord, and through that service of one and all. So here, this is another commonly asked question which we all are faced with. Oftentimes, people will ask, "How do brahmacharis keep themselves engaged?" And another very interesting thing, how do they maintain themselves?
Very nice question. So as far as services are concerned, engagement, there are ample engagements in ISKCON. So much so that you can even forsake your night sleep also, which we don't allow as such. We do give proper rest to brahmacharis. But right from morning 4 a.m. to night 10 p.m., we have fully packed program. We have morning program, which is like PT, physical training, or field work for the military soldiers. They run on the ground, etc. We don't run, but we have Mangal Arati, nice darshan of the Lord, nice hymns being sung there, Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Narsimha Arati, Tulsi Arati, our prayers, then chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. That is for 2 hours, 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Then we have Darshanarti, then we have Guru Puja, Srimad Bhagavatam class. Evening also, similarly, we have Tulsi Arti, then we have Bhagavad Gita class, nice like that. And daytime also, so many services, like there are services like menial services, like cleaning up the temple campus, there could be cooking, there could be washing of pots, there could be deity worship, serving their lordships, arranging so many things for devotees. Then we have stalls to take care of, book distribution. Unlimited engagements have been arranged by Srila Prabhupada. In fact, nobody can say at any time in ISKCON, any monk, that I am less engaged. He should just reveal the fact that he is not having enough engagement. Then he will be given so many. He will say enough. I don't need so many. I need some time to breathe also. There are enough engagements. There is no, because otherwise the brahmachari, empty mind is devil workshop anyway in general. And a brahmachari who has no wife, no job, no money, no father, mother, child, he can go crazy without engagements. He needs thorough engagement for his body, for his mind, for his speaking ability. On all levels, he has to have engagements according to his level also. All these engagements, but according to his level also. Just like children in the 5th standard can deal with algebra, etc. Eventually geometry, then eventually matrices, etc. So according to their level also, mathematics is there, but there are also levels there. So brahmachari is also according to their spiritual consciousness developing, they need appropriate engagements. So we have those engagements perfectly for all brahmacharis. And as far as the maintenance goes, brahmacharis don't work. And they are not supposed to be after money. They will go crazy and they will start cheating, etc. They should be very simple. Just like children, they don't worry about their maintenance. Parents take care. So similarly, other 3 ashrams, the grihasthas, mainly, they take care of brahmachari ashram, vanaprastha ashram, and sannyasa ashram. In fact, all these 3 ashrams should have least requirements. Not that brahmachari says, I want my own car and I want a mobile of 30,000. That is not the case. Just some mobile, maybe nowadays for communication, etc. Some kind of mobile, and not car. He can go by temple vehicle or he could go by outside bus. His life should be as simple as possible, because simplicity will help his mind to be very cool, composed, and with the peaceful mind he can think of Krishna. So as far as his maintenance goes, that is taken care by grihasthas. Like in our Pune temple also, so many nice grihasthas are there. I think one such grihastha, His Grace Jayadev Prabhu, would be addressing all of you in the next session. So there are so many grihasthas who want to give their money, which is easiest to give. In a sense, no need to personally go. Nowadays by electronic transfer also you can transfer the money. But brahmacharis give their lives and they don't have any maintenance, they don't have any job, etc. So there are things which are least requirements taken care by the grihasthas. Yes.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Next question is about the social order, social and the spiritual order that Lord Shri Krishna speaks in Bhagavad Gita. So, can you just briefly tell us, because sometimes it is misunderstood or loosely is called as casteism, And the modern day seculars, liberals blame Vedic culture for, sowing the seed of discrimination in the society by dividing the society based on Brahmanas, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudras, and the spiritual orders. So, first is what is this Vedic spiritual order and its relevance in today's context, when more or less people are are at one level. They're trying to make a classless society, artificially create an equilibrium, not only at the level of one gender, but also across the gender, male, female, all are equal and all that. So what's its importance and relevance in today's context?
As such, our goal should be to become pure devotees of Lord Krishna only. That is the goal of human life, irrespective of which caste, color, creed, nationality, gender, etc. you belong to. But so some kind of this kind of things are required for our own well-being. So that's why this Varnashram is designed by the Lord. So that is very, very important. Varna is the social orders, Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, and Ashram are the spiritual orders, Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasi. This is not the goal in itself. This is just a platform. Just like if I want to fly to Delhi, I cannot just fly from here only, from the terrace of this building. I'll have to go to airport, sit in a plane, and then the plane takes off to Delhi. So similarly, I need some structure using which I can transport or I can proceed further. So the structure, the base is the dharma. And dharmas are also of many dharmas: Stri dharma, Jati dharma, Kula dharma, Varnashram dharma we are talking about. So this Varna and Ashram, the 8 divisions of the society based on the social order and spiritual order, is very much required. Just like we gave example of plane is required. I cannot just fly with my body to Delhi. I need a plane, and that is available at the airport. So similarly, we need this structure, Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, and this is not based on birth, by the way. Krishna has made it very clear. Chaturvarnyam maya srishtam guna karma vibhagasha. According to gun, qualities, and karma, according to the activities that one perform. Not that the son of a Brahmin is Brahmin, not at all. Janmana jayate Shudra. Every child born is a Shudra. He's a low class. The child doesn't even know what to eat, what not to eat. He just puts his hand in the urine and tests, and then he understands it's not good. He doesn't know that it should not be tested. So he's a Shudra, he's ignorant fellow. But when the samskaras are given, there are 40 samskaras, of which 10 are very important, which every human being should do ideally. So they sanskaras make him into higher levels. So the Brahmanas are there who are intellectual class of people. And these are there in America, Russia, China, everywhere. There are intellectual class of people, very intelligent. So they are basically Brahmanas, Though unfortunately their intelligence is misguided in the modern day scenario for some destructive purposes like creating bombs, etc. Otherwise, they are very intelligent people. They are thoughtful people. And then Kshatriyas, they are having a lot of physical power. From seeing their body only we can see. They are supposed to protect women, old men, children, cows, and Brahmanas, because these are weaklings by themselves, so they should be protected by Kshatriyas. Then there are Vaishyas, who are mercantile people, who have the sense of how to earn money, make profit, etc. And then there are Shudras, liberal class. So all 4 are there in every walk of life, everywhere. Whether you term it in those way or not, basically they are all there everywhere. So it is not based on jati, etc. Unfortunately, that the knowledge was not transferred properly. That's why a century back, all this was based on superficial external thing, and it created so much chaos. There were fights, and in the Western countries also, capitalists and communists, so many fights, taking riots, etc. So that should be avoided certainly, but it should be known that these are natural divisions of society that cannot be avoided. Even if you wipe off these terms like Sanatana Dharma and all the scripture, but by default there will be intelligent class of people in the world. There will be those who are strong to protect others. There will be those who are money minded, and there will be those who are liberal class. They cannot have their intelligence. They have to be maintained by others. So that is the thing, and that is very much required. These things are very much required. And it is compared to also our body. Just like Brahmanas are compared to head, the Kshatriyas to the arms which protect. Just like if something is falling from the top, I don't take my head like that. I immediately take head away, and with my hands I try to protect my head, which is to be protected. So Kshatriyas compared to hands should protect the Brahmanas. Similarly, we have belly, which digests food and gives energy for all the parts of the body. And then we have legs on which we walk, transportation happens. So the laborer Shudras are compared to legs, and then stomach is compared to Vaishyas, and all these parts of the body are very important. Do we ever think, oh, my hands are more important than the stomach? Hell with the stomach. No, then we won't digest and the hands won't have strength. Or do I say, oh, legs are not required, unnecessarily so much transportation? You will be frustrated, or somebody says, I don't need head, or I don't need stomach. All these are very important. And there is no competition in all of our body as far as these organs go. There is a natural cooperation for the overall well-being of our body and heading towards some higher goal. That is how all these bodily structures, bodily parts work. So similarly, Brahman, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Shudras work very cohesively, very nicely, cooperatively for uplifting the consciousness of one and all towards the lotus feet of God. That is the perfect Varnashram system, which is not understood properly, unfortunately, in the current day scenario. And that's why society is so chaotic, so much chaotic.
Okay. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Here we come to the, I believe, the most important question, which is a big dilemma for all the young minds. They get connected to spiritual life, is which ashram should I select? Or how do I decide I'm suited for which ashram? Hare Krishna. By the way, did you underwent this kind of dilemma? You didn't have any dilemma at all.
I did not have that dilemma at all like that. Right from the onset, or right in my 8th standard only, I heard from my bua that somebody in our family or in our society, from their village, my bua's village, he graduated, did BSc or something, and then fully dedicated his life in Varkari Sampradaya. So in the mind, I also thought, oh, I will also undergo a lot of education and I will also dedicate my life for God's purpose. But details were not clear unless I came across Radheshambru and other. So by default, building any building, first comes foundation. So foundation is brahmacharya life. That's why people from the higher levels of society, the Brahmanas, the Kshatriyas, as well as Vaishyas, keeping aside Shudras, they would not send their children, but other would send their children at the age of 5 itself to Gurukul. The children would be so small. Can you imagine 5 years children? They were not even knowing how to take bath properly. That's why the Guru's wife, Guru Patni, she would bathe them, put clothes on them, and the small kids would be sitting in the Guru's ashram and doing some sloka recitation, etc. But having nice samskaras given by the Guru. And that was very proper educational system. Not that the Guru would say, first, fees. Have you filled the fees in the office? No, show the receipt, then only sit in the class. Not at all. He would train the children from all their requirements also, physical, mental, everything. Even bathing, as we discussed, was taken care of by Guru and his wife together. And then he would be raised all the way till he wanted, whatever, 15, 20, 25 age. And absolutely no question of money. That would not be even touching the mind of the Guru. That was absolutely not the consideration at all. And then after the education would be over, the child himself, now he's a young man, 20, 25 years old, he would feel gratitude to Guru, and then he would ask to give some Guru Dakshina. So Guru may say whatever you want. And somebody, Brahman son, may give one matka, one earthen pot of dahi. Just imagine, 20, 25 years you are in that educational, like what you call, lodging, boarding, everything included, and you are giving one pot of buttermilk or something like that. But the Guru would be completely happy. In fact, he was not interested in that also, but he would accept it as a gesture of love of that child, that grown-up man. So that is very important. That is how the Gurus would be. And by default, everybody from the higher society would undergo brahmacharya first. So my request to all those who are not married yet to take a brahmacharya training. I always request boys, young boys, to take that training for at least 1 year, if possible 2 years, maybe 5 years, and more than that, always good, always welcome. What for? Not just for the sake of brahmacharya, but to learn exclusive dependence on God. Because you don't have job, you don't have connection so much with parents. You can have telephonic touch, but not so much as such. Not physically, maybe once in a while meeting. No wife, no children, no. Only God is your end all and be all. That experience can be obtained as a brahmachari. In fact, one of our senior devotees, Acharya Ratna Prabhu, the Kolkata temple president, he says, Prabhupada gave us everything. In fact, he gave us one thing which he himself did not have. What was that? That Prabhupada, when he met his Guru, he felt, wow, what a wonderful saintly person. I wish if I was not married, I would have at once joined his movement full time and spread it helped him, assisted him in that way. But unfortunately, Prabhupada was married. He already had 1 or 2 kids also that time. So according to Vedic times, if somebody is married, he cannot just give up his responsibilities and join brahmacharya or something like that. He should fulfill his family responsibilities, and then afterwards, after the age of 50 also, he may join wholeheartedly also. So we are very fortunate. So one can undergo this training, brahmacharya training, especially those who are not married. I was fortunate when I was 17 years and 9 months old. That was the time I came in touch with ISKCON devotees. So that was the right time, right time. We had not thought about married life, all those. We were into our career. That also was beginning in one sense, but engineering first year only. So that was the right time to get into. So anybody who is like that in that setting, not yet married, as long as the garland, not this garland by the opposite sex member has not put around your neck, I think you are qualified to be brahmachari in our ISKCON temples. Madan Sundarbu, I think, will give you a red carpet, blue carpet, green carpet, all carpet welcome to just join. And after some years of training, you can definitely enter in married life. That is always glorious, because that training foundation will help you in the future life as a married person. And what to speak if one wants to continue throughout life as a brahmachari, that is the best thing to happen. But even the other one is also the best in its own way. When one gets married and leads Krishna conscious life, leading the society by his own personal example, because he's married man having job, business, etc., or children, he's a society man, so he can teach to them through his own personal life also. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. I'll just take one quick question, and then there are many questions our viewers are asking. You have given the most valuable 20 years of your life, where you probably could have done a lot for your personal self, personal well-being. Probably would have accelerated in your professional career and so forth. You have dedicated that 20 years of your most valuable part of your life in the service of society, in the service of the Lord. So my question is, what is your experience? Because your experience will give a lot of faith and hope to all those who are thinking about life. Because a lot of time the youngsters have a fear of future. What will happen to me in the future? Is it really going to work for me? So you have spent 20 years and plus, and as far as I know you personally from the last 10 years, there's no turning back. You're cruising on a highway. Some of us are on a traffic road stuck with so many hindrances, but you're cruising on a full speed on a highway with no stopping. Can you please share your experience of being as a brahmachari monk 20 years?
It's very blissful experience. In fact, way back, years back, maybe 23 years back, maybe when I was even student, one day in Shishi Radha Gunjaveri temple in the camp area, I was after Radheshamru's lecture, somebody was meeting him. I did not know that person, but they were talking. I don't know what was the question, but Radheshamru said, "I can see my way back home, back to Godhead. It's a straight highway with absolutely no barriers, and I'm running on this highway with high speed." When I heard that answer, that thing, I was stunned. It's a straight highway with absolutely no barriers, and I'm running on it with high speed. It was very inspiring to me, because it was not just some bombastic words. I had to lead that kind of life. So I was very happy to hear in those terms, in those ways, that way. So I also felt that I should also go on like that. It's very blissful life. In fact, the challenges that were posed by so many people in the society, whether my own relatives, so many, in fact, they had opposed. After 9 years of my brahmacharya life, one day when I had visited home, my father said, "So are you planning to marry?" I was stunned. My God, I thought my father has full blessings for me to go on as a brahmachari, but he's still interested in me to marry. I was 31, 32 years old then. He thought maybe this last phase of life, afterwards who will give him a girl or etc. It will be a terrible problem. So then I told him in proper nice words that how anybody who marries me will be miserable. I don't want to make any girl cry for whole of her life. Let her get some devoted husband and be happy in life. Let me not make anyone's life miserable. I very nicely cooled him down. But the point is, it is very nice. Whether my own family members, other times also, some of them opposed. But we were firm, because we are in such association of devotees. We just can't think of others. And it is like expanded consciousness does not allow one to think in very limited way. It is said, ayam nijaha paro vetti ganana lagu chetasam. Udara charitanam tu vasudhaiva kutumbakam. Those who are short-sighted or contracted in their consciousness, they feel he is mine, that is others, that mamakar, that bhedbhav, that kind of partiality goes on. My son, my child is others, is not important, my child is very important. So this is very contracted consciousness. In expanded consciousness, udara charitanam tu vasudhaiva kutumbakam. This whole vasudha, whole earth and earthly beings, they are all my relatives, they are my kutumba, they are my family members. So thus we are ecstatic. At least I feel, wow, this is perfection of my life. I don't know, I am not such a good person, but why Prabhupada gave such unlimited fortune for me? So I'm so grateful to Prabhupada and all his followers, Radhesham Prabhu here, and we wish to assist them in every possible way according to our own small capacity, so that we benefit ourselves as well as all of the society people. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for this inspiring answer. So here we'll take some questions from our audience. So I'll request our admin if they can. So here is the first question from Vivek ji. Why is it so difficult to stay in bhakti? Every now and then falling down. What's the solution?
That will naturally happen in the early stages. Just like all of us, when kids, when we are first learning to walk, did we not fall down? Is there anyone child just got up and started walking? Mama, just see. Impossible. He has to fall down few times. And similarly, cycling also. When we were learning how to ride on cycle, sometimes there are some wounds also, sometimes little serious. So much so that we get little aversion also. But those who come out of that aversion and still dare to touch the cycle and endeavor, they learn cycling. So similarly in spiritual path also, sometimes there may be some fall down. And it is mainly because of not having association of devotees or not taking that association properly. That's why only one experiences such fall down. Otherwise, one who takes association, he's in association and he's taking it very wonderfully, he will have no fall down experiences at all. He'll be ecstatic, he'll be marching forward, like Radheshamru's statement, running on the highway which has absolutely no barriers. So Vivek Prabhu's, our request to him is, take care, be in the association of devotees and take that association very seriously.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Shashwat is asking how to get knowledge of the self.
Oh, that is Bhagavad Gita is the basis. Bhagavad Gita is giving that knowledge right in the second chapter itself. First chapter describes Arjun's anxiety, Arjun's dilemma as to whether to fight or not. He gives 5 reasons, which are all based on the scriptures. They are not just whimsical coming from his mind. They are all very appropriate things, but they are on the lower dharma level. So Krishna gives higher dharma level. And there, in fact, he introduces this Atma Tattva, knowledge of the self. First thing only he tells, you are not body, you are spirit soul. Because you are acting or thinking in the bodily terms, that's why you are confused. You are so much. He said, Gandivam sramsate hastat. Arjun had taken a vow, I will never keep down my Gandiv vow. Anybody who tells me to keep it down, I will kill him on the spot. On the spot, I will kill him. That was Arjun's vow. And here, at the onset of the war only, the Gandiv is automatically slipping out of his hand. Nobody had said anything. But his mind only was saying so many things, which he completely got confused by. So that's why knowledge of the self. What does he say? In the beginning, he says, I'm completely confused. Dharma sammuda cheta. At the end, after hearing Bhagavad Gita, he says, Nashto moha smrutir labdhva tvat prasadat mayachyuta. Stitosmi gata sandeha karishye vachanam tava. All my illusions are gone. Nashta moha smrutir labdhva. I have got my intelligence now. Tvat prasadat. By your mercy, O Lord. Stitosmi. I am well situated now. I am ready to fight. Gata sandeha. All my doubts are gone. Karishye vachanam tava. Whatever you say, I will do it. So this conviction, confidence Arjun developed based on knowledge of the self and knowledge of the higher self also, Supreme Lord. That follows in the later chapters of Bhagavad Gita, but begins with the second chapter with the knowledge of the self.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Next is from Mahatilak. Kindly explain how a woman in Grahastha ashram can follow brahmacharya.
Oh yes,
Looks
our
like
one, His Holiness, I think, or His Grace Sankarshan Das Adhikari Prabhu, who is a big guru, though he is a Grahastha, he said there are 5 types of brahmacharis. Brahmachari, Grahastha Brahmachari, Vanaprastha Brahmachari, Sannyasi Brahmachari, and Brahmacharini Brahmachari. That means the ladies. Ladies can also practice this brahmacharya by not just wandering around here and there in search of men before marriage, and after marriage just sticking loyal chest to their own husband, and just serving the husband in a Krishna conscious way. First, the husband should also be Krishna conscious man, dedicated to the mission of Guru and Vaishnavas. So then she assists him and she practices brahmacharya in that way. The chastity that woman has, that is her brahmacharya in itself, like that. And she can, in fact, she can produce brahmachari. Like I have told so many, sometimes there is some fanatical approach to brahmachari. Like our brahmacharis want to make all the boys into brahmacharis. I don't like some boys wanting to become grahasthas. So I told those brahmacharis only that we all brahmacharis were produced in grahastha ashram. None of us were born in brahmachari ashram. So every brahmachari is born in grahastha ashram. So mother, the lady, has such a high responsibility. If she's all the time available. I remember my mother, how she was always available. She was a house lady. She was not working anywhere. Simple lady, not educated so much. 7th standard she gave up in between after her marriage and all. But then she was always available to me. All my problems, my happinesses, everything I would tell her. And she would always inspire me in my life, in studies, in emotions. She gave such a solid support. In fact, without mother's that backup, the boy cannot become a successful brahmachari at all. Because mother is the only creation, only personality in the creation who can give that love to the child, especially the emotions that he seeks. Mother is the only person. The father cannot give those kind of emotions. So if the mother gives that love and care for the brahmachari in his childhood, such a brahmachari can become love distributor. He will not become love seeker. Always he is seeking love, give me love from here, there. Such a fellow is very weak, but he will be love distributor. That is all the mercy of the lady only, his mother. So all the ladies have a very high responsibility. Earning money in some high-tech job and all that, that is not the greatness of a woman. Woman's greatness is to nurture the child, to make him so strong that he can shake the whole world. We find that in the case of Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva was so much disturbed. Long story, but in short, his stepmother insulted him and he went to his mother crying as any other child would do. And mother gave him the confidence, don't worry my dear child, you have some aspiration, you want a kingdom greater than your great-grandfather, greater than even Brahma's kingdom, that only God can give you. My dear mother, where does this God stay? I don't know, but the sages go in the forest for that reason to search after him. Oh really, then I'm going to forest. She said, yes, go ahead. What one mother can offer you love, my dear child, what millions of mothers cannot offer, that love God alone can offer you. Just imagine 5-year-old child is living in the forest for very high purpose. Even sages cannot accomplish. He is going and mother gave all blessing. But at the fag end of his life, when Dhruva Maharaj was being taken by Vishnu Dutas to Godhead, he said, wait a minute, what about my mother? She is my first guru, even before Narad Muni. She should be going back to Godhead, to that happy kingdom of God. I cannot go alone. That would be too selfish of me. Then they said, don't worry, Dhruva, just look upward. Her flight has already taken off. You are a little late. We'll be following her flight. So don't worry. So this is the contribution. Mother Suniti should be the top heroine for any lady. And that way she practices the best of the brahmacharya by making a most powerful brahmachari in terms of her child. She herself is brahmachari and she produces. Only a brahmachari like that lady can produce a brahmachari like Dhruva Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Which ashram will you categorize today's education?
Which ashram? It is actually Grahamedi or worse than Grahamedi. It's very, very bad education today. The boys, girls are made to sit together and what not nonsense goes on. I was in one of the Pune schools. I doubt whether the children were, not even in 3rd standard, maybe in 2nd or 1st standard, English medium school. So the boy and girl were sitting together. I was wondering what nonsense is this. The boys, children of that age, they have no sense only. They are not mad after sitting with a girl. But it is the system, the modern day education system, like Western system, boy and girl, free mixing and all that kind of stuff. That is all utter foolishness, making animals out of human beings. They should be kept away from opposite sex. In fact, co-ed is not so good. We are fortunate from my 5th standard to 10th standard, we had only boys in this. Girls were there in the school, but in our classroom, only boys. A division was girls division, B division, C, D, they were boys division. So that way we are protected lot, because that age is very dangerous age, and in that age, at least in the classroom, we did not have so much exposure to girls, and that way our brahmacharya was maintained to some degree. So in today's, as far as today's education, I would say it is like, animalistic education, worse than animals also, very bad. That's why so many scandals happen. I don't want to tell. I think you all are more aware of it in the outside world, what happens because of this kind of free mixing. Yes.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Question from Ashutosh. How a working professional manages time to balance between devotion and work life?
So hopefully, I don't know the current day scenario of software engineers, but ideally 8, maybe max 10 hours of working is okay. Now one should have some time for oneself. I heard in MBAs, Symbiosis College in Pune, the college starts at 6 o'clock in the morning and goes till 11 o'clock in the night. And our devotees from their graduation level, when they went for MBA, they were asking, Prabhu, when to chant? 6 o'clock we have to reach college and 11 o'clock we come back. And we don't have time for our other physical maintenance only. So it was a very terrible thing. So one should not put himself in such kind of scenarios where it is very difficult. But supposing that it is 8 to 10 hours of job, professional work, then one could stay in the community of devotees. Now so many places like our Madan Sundar Prabhu has created, I think Hinjewadi, whatever that youth center, etc. Similarly in Kharadi there is another one. Like that, so many places are there. Or even if there is no brahmachari leader, the boys themselves, some devotees who are working in professional world, they could come together in a flat or bungalow or whatever it is, and they could lead some kind of Krishna conscious life, getting up early in the morning, having chanting their rounds, maybe some little kirtan, maybe some reading from Prabhupada books in the morning, and evening also, if possible, some hearing lecture at least during dinner, prasad, etc. Like that, some kind of devotional touch has to be there. Otherwise, it would be very difficult. One will just get sucked in this kind of professional world where people are mad, work, workaholics. These people, workaholics, will put alcoholics to shame. That kind of work they do. My God, crazy. Western world, because England and other places being cold countries, sometimes it is easier there to work for 14-15 hours because cold countries. But in India, when it is so hot, people are mad to work. Maybe you may say that you are in software company, it's cold there also, but it's crazy. Money is not the only thing in life. Money can help you to get soft beds, but cannot purchase sleep for you. Money can purchase medicines, but not health. Money can give many facilities, but not the peace of mind. So what is required is basic minimum peace, and that comes automatically by the bliss of devotional practices. That's why one should by all means arrange his life in such a way that one is able to practice Krishna consciousness, at least chanting around some Mahamantra, chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Kirtan, and maybe some reading of Prabhupada books, at least. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Question from Mother Sanjana. I get very angry very often, but I want to love everybody around me. I chant, but still, whenever a situation arises, I get angry. How do I improve myself?
Very nice, honest question. We appreciate Mataji for that. So the anger is younger brother of lust. The another Sanskrit name for anger is Kamanuja. Anger is Krodh, but has another name of Kamanuja. Younger brother of Kama. Kama means lust. So when we want to have something in life for our own enjoyment, and that kind of desire is not fulfilled for some reason or the other, somebody comes in between, then we tend to become very angry with that person. All kind of destructive thoughts come in our mind. So the root lies in the desires. So our desire should be to serve Krishna, to serve Vaishnavas, to serve everyone. So desire should not be that everybody should serve me. If that is the focus, we are the focus, then we are bound to be angry sometime or the other. So heart has to be filled with love. Then one can love everyone. Else, we'll be always love seekers. And definitely everybody may not love. Rather, some people in the society may hate us. And as soon as we detect it, we immediately will be triggered. We'll become angry with them. So the crux lies in the desire. So desire should be doubted to serve Hari, Guru and Vaishnava. For that, we should associate with devotees who are selflessly going on in life. Just like in my childhood, one of the foundational drawbacks I found in my life was selfishness, and this has to be removed. I knew by selflessness, but how to lead a selfless life when everybody around me is so competitive and so much selfish? How could I, at the age of 10, 12, 15, would be selfless? So I was wondering how to be selfless. I want to be selfless. I know that will make me happy. But in this kind of society, if I have to survive, I have to be selfish to some extent or the other. But only when I came in touch with devotees, because I had heard that one Radhesham Das, MTech, IIT Powai gold medalist, is going to give some kind of seminars on Bhagavad Gita. So I thought, like in college, we have so many seminars. Somebody comes in coat, suit, boot, etc. Like that, somebody, and English definitely. We are engineering students, so it will be English Bhagavad Gita class. But when I saw him as a sadhu, monk, and I was wondering, he's the one or somebody else is that BTech, MTech, IIT Powai. Then when I came to know he's the one, I was shocked. How is he so selfless? Despite so much of education, how did he devote himself fully? So when I came to know the details, I was very inspired. So we need to have association of such people. Then only we'll be able to practice. From them only we'll gain love that will fill our heart. And naturally, when the heart is filled up, it will overflow and we will be the distributors of love. Prabhupada got that love from his guru and from his god brothers, and then he distributed it to the whole world. So similarly, we also need the reservoirs of love, basically different devotees. When we are staying with them, they will give the love to us, then we will distribute, and then we will not be affected by lusty desires, which concomitantly eventually lead to anger. We can definitely control anger. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Taking one more question from Shashi Vardhan. If my past is worst due to my sins, then in what way I can be treated in ISKCON and be in Krishna consciousness and dedicate my life to the lotus feet of Lord Shri Krishna?
So I would ask you a question. Whom do you compare yourself with? Any one of the hippies of 1960s? Are you in any way matched to any one of them? At least our past is not so worst. At best, some meat eating might have happened, some gambling, something here and there. It's not that. And one should not get carried away by inferiority complex, which is also a big enemy. As much as superiority complex is one enemy on one extreme, other extreme is inferiority complex. Oh, I am so fallen, I am so bad, I am so sinful. Even Krishna cannot deliver me. That means Krishna is weaker than my own powers. I am so fallen that strong Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna cannot deliver me. This is foolishness. So one should not succumb to inferiority complex as much as one should not succumb to superiority complex, that I am the best, I can defeat everyone. That is another nonsense. So one should not feel like that. One can honestly open his heart and tell in case required the past, whatever the background was. And despite all that, we can always give you red carpet welcome. Somewhere or the other, ISKCON is very vast and so many frontiers are there in which somewhere or the other you could be always fitted. And in fact, you can excel, you can help the whole world also to flourish by your devotional activities for the sake of the humanity. So don't feel yourself completely dejected. In fact, Arjuna was dejected like that. So you may read Bhagavad Gita maybe once and see how to come out of that dejection. But more than that, associate with devotees, consult, seek their guidance, and under their guidance, you have a place. Definitely everybody has a place in ISKCON. Nobody can say I am so fallen. Nityananda Prabhu delivered Jagai and Madhai, and Prabhupada delivered so many hippies. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu delivered the animals in the Jharkhand forest. So we, no matter how much or fallen we are, we always have a place. In fact, my conviction is, if I could be devotee in ISKCON, the whole world can easily be in ISKCON. Because I also feel like our Shashi Prabhu, that I am also worst fellow. So that way everybody may feel, but we should not get carried away by that. One should contribute to society. Hare Krishna.
Taking one of the last questions for today, Prabhuji. Although there are many questions, we'll probably take this as the last. How to chant Krishna's name in mind? In other words, how to always keep thinking about Krishna. Because mind is always thinking about something else. So how to focus on Krishna?
So one should engage in the regulative practice of devotional service. In 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 8th verse, Krishna says, Mayyeva mana adasva mayi buddhim niveshaya. Niveshasya mayyeva ata urdhvam na samshaya. Just fix your mind on me, O Arjun. But this is very high practice. Mind being contaminated, just can't think of Krishna so easily. Malin haile man, nahi Krishna smaran. We can see in chanting also, our lips are, tongue is saying Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. But because mind is contaminated, we are not able to hear only. 2 ears we have, others around us may hear, but we are not able to hear because mind is impure. So directly thinking of Krishna with mind is not so easy. That's why in 12.9 Krishna gives the solution, means one step down. Atachittam samadhatum na shaknosi mai sthiram abhyasa yogena tato mam ichchaptum dhananjaya. In case you are not able to fix your mind on me, O Arjun, then engage abhyasa yogena, in regulative practice of devotional service, Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, with one extra thing. What is that? Mam ichchaptum dhananjaya, with the desire to achieve me, with the desire to think of Krishna 24 hours in future. Currently not able to, so practice Vaidhi sadhana bhakti, and in future desire to be able to think of Krishna always. So it all begins with our bodily activities. As much as body is engaged in Krishna conscious activities, that much our speech will be able to engage in the service of the Lord. And when these two are going on, then our mind, which is subtlest element in the body compared to our senses and tongue, etc., the mind is very subtle, then that also will be purified. We will be able to. Prabhupada says Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. Only one who has done nice Shravanam, hearing of Krishna conscious Katha, chanting, etc., then he will be able to do Kirtanam, nice glorification of the Lord, whether in terms of singing or in terms of Katha, speaking about Krishna. And then these two combinedly will lead to Smaranam, remembering Krishna. So first two have to be followed, then the third one will be automatically achieved. It will happen automatically. Your mind will automatically think of it. Don't worry, immediately it will come automatically.
Thank you, Prabhuji. We come to the conclusion. But before we conclude, we want to take one concluding message from you for the youth of the world today. What would be your message or your advice for the youths? How should they lead their life? What should be their aspiration? Any advice from you?
I'm a small man, what advice could I give? But as you are asking, I would say that live a life of substance. Let it not be hollow life, the way unfortunately we are made to pass through in the world today. With so much of questions, so many questions and complete confusion. So let not be there any confusion. For that reason only we have this kind of sessions, and read Bhagavad Gita, come in touch with ISKCON devotees, know from them what is life all about and how to lead in the best possible way. Obviously it is by this devotional practice only, along with one's professional life, whatever it is, of student, working person, etc., housewife. But the most important is Krishna consciousness. That is the substance. Without that, life carries no meaning. Just like now you may see me so active, but it is all because of me, the soul. When the soul leaves the body, no matter whether he was Dara Singh, Muhammad Ali, or Michael Jackson, or whatever, Einstein, the body is of, it is same. What difference it makes is because of the presence of the soul. So have the soul in your life, and that soul is God. That soul is the guidance, the knowledge given by God in terms of Vedic literature. So have it through devotee association, ISKCON devotee community, and then live a very substantial, meaningful life of proper goal, and offer that goal to others around you also, and make their life also meaningful, not meaningless, completely confused and then thinking of suicidal things and all that. So that should not be the case. One should be very clear. Just like this corona also, as much as we are in touch with Guru Sadhu Shastra, that much this corona has no consequence. Certainly we can take precautions like wearing mask, sanitizer, etc. But we are not, our subtle body should not become corrupt. Gross body we take care through all this mask, etc. But subtle body should be free. Mind should be free to think of Krishna. And that is possible only when we have substance in life, substance of God and God's direction through devotees. Then we can be so successful in our own lives, and also we can make others successful in their lives. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for sharing your words of wisdom. It's always an honor and privilege to learn from the seniors like yourself. You're a great source of inspiration, had been a great source of inspiration for all these years. At least I can say one thing. Looking at you, I am always reminded of somebody who's always smiling and has a smile on his face at all times. So even if we are in our own, sometimes crises do come, confusion do come. So I know for sure if I look at a place, there is a hope, there's a potential of being remaining steadfast, and maybe Krishna willing, by the mercy of Guru and Vaishnavas, someday becoming successful in our spiritual path. So sincerely grateful for taking out your time, being here. I believe this was our first program where we could come together and have it for our Hinjawadi community and rest of the devotees who are connected now. Hopefully, as things become normal, I would request you again to maybe come in person to spend a time with all of us here. It'll be very nice. Thank you once again, Prabhuji, for joining in. Hare Krishna.
Hare
And
Krishna.
thanks to all the guests and audience who joined in today for this discussion. Once again, tomorrow we meet again at the same time for a live question answer session with His Grace Radheshyam Prabhu as a part of his self-development series. So if you have not yet posted a question, please go ahead and do so. If not, join in tomorrow. You can post your questions tomorrow during the session also. With that, we conclude for today. Have a wonderful, blissful Krishna conscious evening. And Krishna willing, we'll meet tomorrow evening. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.